Hey everyone, it's Julian from BD Cosmos, and we're back. We're doing top 10 books to subscribe to for a brand new month. We're doing already the month of April 2022, and these are also books that are coming in June of 2022. So, as always, we're going to recommend 10 new series that are appearing in this month's solicitations between the DC Connect, the Marvel previews, and the Diamond previews. So these are all books that I think are pretty interesting, and maybe, hopefully, you will too. So this, as always, will separate into two parts. So the very first part will look at independent comic books, so the non-superhero type, and in the follow-up video, we will be doing 5 superhero comic books, mostly relating to DC and Marvel. So let's get right to it. The very first book that we have this month, actually, it's a pretty stacked month. I had to cut down on a lot of possible choices. So for the independent sides, we have 1 Dark Horse title and 4 Image titles. The very first one is going to be that Dark Horse title, and it's called The Ward. So The Ward, it feels like the ER or Grey's Anatomy of this world, this documentary series about the doctors in a hospital, and we're looking at their lives. Except it's a supernatural hospital, and we're dealing with supernatural creatures and phenomenons. So this doctor in particular has to return to the hospital and dealing with a special patient, the Dr. Nat Reeves from the Solicitation, and the person itself has a tail, if I'm not mistaken. The point that I want to mention about this particular book, why this one spoke to me, is that Cavan Scott is the one who's writing it, and Cavan Scott is pretty much the forerunner for everything of the High Republic being done, both from IDW and Marvel. And I assume as well Dark Horse. So he's the person at Lucasfilm who's in charge of most things. So he's also written a couple of novels as well for the High Republic. So the fact of the matter that he's writing an independent series for DC, Dark Horse, my mistake, seems pretty interesting, and it's a pretty fun concept, I think. So this is one of the books I recommend picking up this month. Next up, the first of the Image series is James Tynion, The Closet. So this is one of the many Substack creator-owned series that are coming to print for the first time. And as always from James Tynion, it's a horror series. Haha. And The Closet is a pretty simple concept. Aren't you always afraid of that monster in the closet? So the main character's son is seeing monsters in this closet, and is it true, or is it something that's actually haunting him? The concept is pretty cool, actually. I've seen something similar in one episode if you watch CBS's or Paramount Plus's Evil series, which I'm a huge fan of. And there was one episode where a child was haunted by a demon in his closet, and it was a Nefrit. So, and that demon character, continued to take part during the second season as well of Evil. So that gives me these vibes for Closet itself. Also, the O for Closet also has the vibes of The Ring. So as always, is James Tynion. If you're a fan of James Tynion's horror, so Last House on a Lake, or Something's Killing the Children, or House of Slaughter, this is probably a book for you. Next up, we've got Do a Powerbomb. So, as you can be not surprised, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been watching wrestling almost my entire life. And so this particular series is about a daughter whose mother was the greatest female champion of all time, or greatest champion of all time. And so now she's trying to step into her mother's shoes, but the shadow of her mother is so long cast. The title itself didn't really do anything for me. Daniel Warren was the creator of Wonder Woman Dead Earth. That does really well, actually, on Power Back issues. People are still looking for them. So, to me, it was not very super interesting, but we know he can do powerful women, a la Wonder Woman. So, but what really intrigued me, actually, was the interior art. And then when I was reading the text, like, oh my god, this Daniel Warren... He's a wrestling fan, because he's picked up the lingo and the intonation super well. So over a previous world, we have all these descriptions, these couple of pages, and that's if you look up, if you want to come into the store and look at our physical copy of the Diamond Previews, these pages are inside, or you can just go look at it on previousworld.com. But U.S. Steel Rose is her mother. But this particular line here, the Cobra Sun coming in, I'll read them for you because it's actually kind of important, and any wrestling fan will get these. So the heel, the evil villain, comes in and he says, "Cut my music." Good, good. So we all boo me all you like. I don't care. Unlike my opponent, I have no curtain cut over my eyes. She calls you her family. So sweet. So sweet, makes me sick. She's forgotten what it means to be a pro wrestler. It's not about the crowds. It's not about the love or the family or the adulation. It's about power, status, money, and most of all, it's about that. And I'll be taking it from you tonight. And here's the daughter itself. "Kick his ass, Mom," and then the ring goes off. So these words, this promo that in part of the wrestling lingo is very spot on for a heel, and it makes me think of a lot of evil characters that we've had since the 70s. So yeah, and plus he's a master brawler, so he might be a luchador, which is a Mexican term. So yeah, the words themselves in the pages is what sold me on the book more than anything. I'm fairly certain that it's going to speak a lot to other wrestling fans out there. Now, there have been wrestling series in the past, and some have been okay, and some have been really bad. I can think of Boom's WWE series, which is legible completely. But this does give us a feeling of something. It's a miniseries, 7 books, so 7 months, and you know what? I believe I am subscribed to the series. Yeah, I'm subscribed to series. I'm subscribed to main cover. So yeah, if this is something that speaks to you, if the art or the words speak to you like they did to me, you should subscribe to it right now. Next up, Jay Lee returns to creator-owned books in like forever. Jay Lee is a famous artist. Has been doing interior arts for comic books, well, according to this, since the 90s. I am not personally a fan of his art. He makes really stretched out, thin characters, and that is his style, and there are definitely fans out there of that particular style, not me. But the context is kind of interesting, where the premise is about this character, Delph, who's a young man who seems to be the second coming of Christ, or everyone around him believes to be the case. And so he's trying to find out the truth of his own creation. So Seven Sons, it's actually kind of cool how they wrote it. So the 7 itself, the N, and then the 2 here. So you can see that the N is crossed off as a 5 plus 2. So 7 Sons. I think that's pretty cool. And then the art style is... You can see it there. That is Jay Lee art style from the get-go. There are definitely people out there who are like really excited for this. Not myself, but I can respect the fact that the art is very famous. The creator himself is incredibly famous. He sells books, and there are a lot of people out there who love it. Now, the second coming of Christ and someone playing around with that, that's what intrigues me. And so I'll be picking up number 1, and we'll see what it goes up from there. If it's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe right here. And then last up for this month, there is no two ways I couldn't get around this. It's my good pal Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain, which is another Substack creator-owned series that's coming to print. And the point of this series itself, Public Domain, is about 2 sons of a father who created the world's greatest pop culture phenomenon. And now, years later, they're dealing with the ramifications of that as a family, and then they're trying to push their dad to do something about it to save their family. So Chip Zdarsky, if you're not reading his books, he is the extremely well-written book of Daredevil and Devil's Reign. He has Newburn that I read as well. Stillwater as well from Image. He is writing Batman the Knight, the prequel series for DC. He also calls himself the face of DC with upcoming projects that he has. Furthermore, he's most well known for his series with Matt Fraction, which was Sex Criminals, obviously. And he also had a stint doing Spectacular Spider-Man a couple years back. So he doesn't want to take over Amazing Spider-Man, but he was given a run. We also had Life Story Spider-Man, which also is very popular. So Public Domain, we've got some interior art pages that's supplied as well. I couldn't find them on image.com, but we can certainly see them over at Diamond Previews World. And so these are just a couple of pages. How, like, Eminent Domain is the most famous character, so it's the Superman of this universe, if you will. Actually, this heartfelt series, written and illustrated by Eisner winner Chip Zdarsky, explores a wild alternate world where comic book creators aren't properly acknowledged or compensated for their creations. So it has definitely that Joe Siegel vibe about Superman, and then Bob Kane as well for Batman, and then obviously lots of other characters that have not been properly given the creator-owned rights. Ed Brubaker is famous for being paid very little for Winter Soldier, except his cameo in the Winter Soldier movie. He was paid more than the actual creation of the character. So that's what this point of the series. Because I am such a huge fan of Zdarsky, I'm part of his newsletter, and then he in this week's email he sent out asks a lot of his industry friends some quotes for him to put up, and I'll read a couple for you. So everyone's talking about Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain. This week's crazy, but I'll check it out the link when I get a moment. From Kelly Thompson. Captain Marvel. I want to say, Jeff, is that a thing? Hi, I'm at Galaxy's Edge and will be sporadically checking my email until I'm back on April 4th. From Charles Soule. Charles, from who's done Star Wars and, quote, Daredevil. Bunch of scripts due this week, but I'll read them right after, I swear. Donny Cates, who writes Hulk, Thor, crossover, and the Hulk-Thor crossover. Sounds good. Here's Dropbox links to the closet. Would love a quote from James Dinion. The burnt truth in quote Batman. So it's a lot of one plays. I'm fairly certain he wrote all of these just because he thinks he's funny. He is some of the time, but this is kind of absurd. So if you like to see the full quote list of quotes, you can always pause these things. Yeah, I'm pretty busy, man. Sally Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Spine-Tingling Spider-Man, Spider-Man who shall whip the webs, Spider-Man the Spit. It's pretty good. I enjoyed this, and especially the no from Jonathan Hickman. So yeah, bunch of things. I'm pretty excited for this character, about the lives of these people, how he sees himself and other comic book creators for their creations. So yeah, it seems it's incredibly popular, just like The Closet is on Substack. So a printed version is something that really interests me. Now, if any of these series do interest you and like to picking up this month into your subscription with Managed Comics over at bdcosmos.com, feel free to go at bdcosmos.com, go to Managed Comics, enter your account, and add these books by clicking on subscribe now. Just want to try number one and want to see what happens afterwards? Pre-order the book instead and just add the one shot and we'll look into it, and just as well as never forget to pre-order the second book before FOC, or subscribe and make sure to let us know that you want it. You'd better for the team over at Cosmos to help you out. Feel free to let us know either in this message below or through our Facebook page or in email, or you can call us or just come and see us. We'll be happy to add it to your account. Well, that's it for us today. We've looked at 5 super series that are coming out for the month of June. And so if there's anything else, feel free to like and subscribe and share this video with other friends who are looking to pick up some books in the future. Otherwise, we'll see each other real soon for 5 more series coming out in June for the Solicitations of April 2022. Thank you so much and have a great evening.